All right, I'm going to complain for the next 10 minutes about G.I. Joe Classified, okay? And, you may think, why am I complaining? That's what the internet is for. And as an American, it is my right. And I will complain even though I have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay, all right. I want to say this is all in good fun and in love here of the G.I. Joe Classified team. Take it as constructive criticism, as you will. Truth is I think they're doing a fantastic job. There's a few things they could be doing a little better, a little bit. Just some few things that just piss me off and probably piss you off. A few things that maybe could be done just a little bit better. So we're going to use this as constructive criticism. Overall, I mean, there's a few of these things that are pretty serious, actually, and kind of piss me off a lot. I think it's the best toy line out there. I think they're doing more creative and innovative and interesting things than any other toy company. And that says a lot, seeing as they're the big guys. There's Hasbro we're talking about. All right, let's talk about what's wrong. The bendy weapons, the squishy bendy weapons. I heard Lenny talking about reasons why they can't do this, and it makes somewhat sense. It's basically so, like, some kid just jab his freaking eye out with it. So, you try to fire a gun, and it's firing off left to left. It's bending like this. It's not good for anyone. You can't use that in battle. But I get it. Okay, so some kid's going to poke his eye. I don't care about that kid. Let him poke his eye out. I want my weapon straight. Actually, I gotta say one thing about the bendable and stretchy material. I gotta say is at least better than what NECA does or what a lot of these companies do, which is they give you a toy that has a good rigid weapon that breaks in 20 seconds after you take it out of the package. And so I like some of that bendability because it saves you from them breaking easily. I got this NECA Predator in 2 seconds. Its spear snapped in half. I like my toys to be played with, right? I want them to be played with. Playing hard with them. I imagine that a child is playing with them, okay? Not a 45-year-old man is playing with them. A child. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes I let my kids play with them. But and a kid plays hard, right? They don't know what to do. They don't know, it's a collector's item that's supposed to look good on a shelf. They're thinking, I want to play with this thing. I want to have some fun. I'm going to throw it across the room, and it better stay together. And in general, what the Classified crew has done is they've made a toy that does not break very easily, that stays together. And so that's great, but still, you got to do something about these stupid bendable weapons. Next thing I am complaining about, because it is my prerogative, is the backpacks. All right. The backpacks with this stupid little tiny little peg that barely can get in the figure half the time and falls out constantly. Why not go back to the original? They had a good solid peg. You stuck it in, it came out easy. It was more of a more substantial piece. It was harder for it to break off. I got my barbecue in a couple days. The backpack peg broke right off. Now he's got no way of holding his flame retardant foam, and he's just gonna chop people up with axes instead, right? So do something better about the pegs on these backpacks. Get them so that they're more substantial and they don't fall out so damn easily. And the other thing is too, like, the backpacks in general are just like the least exciting accessory. I mean, I think when they have storage here, I think using them more for storage, maybe having something that could open up a little bit, maybe having some places to put more things. I mean, I think that's another thing to talk about here. It's just like, it's at its best, the collection's at its best when everything has its place, right? Every little weapon that the guy comes with has a place that it can hang on the figure. Otherwise, there's just too much going on, too many pieces. So you could expand the backpacks to open up, to have more storage, to be more of a useful thing than, just something we imagine. They're going out for a week of camping for a long fight, and they got a giant ass backpack on them. Not that exciting, frankly. I'm not excited by it. All right, here's another one. As a bald man, I don't appreciate this. you get this weird hairdo thing that, you pop off the head, and then you got like some disturbing, brain surgery looking freak show kind of thing going on with the guy's head. Now, it'd be great if the hat stuck on, but a lot of times, you're really having a fight here. And now eventually somebody's going to punch somebody and boom! The hat's going to fly right off, and then you get this weird, gross looking brain thing. Now, I don't know. I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to be innovative, and it's a good idea. Okay, we can swap it so he has hair and then a hat on. I think I'm fine with just having him have the hat on, especially since somebody like Shipwreck or Lady J, we're going to imagine them with the hat on most of the time. Or do swappable heads, maybe trying to save money. I get it, but this is just not a solution. If you're going to do this, make sure that hair piece sticks on. Otherwise, it's just disturbing. I mean, this is going to scare children. Another thing I'm going to complain about, the hands. The hands. I want a fist, okay? And here's the thing about, I know a lot of you love the removable hands. You can swap out a lot of different hands, and I think it can be cool, like the new Mutt and Junkyard's got hand signals, and that's great. But, and if you're doing photography, okay. But what I'm doing is I'm playing with these things, okay? I want to play. And if you want to play, you're not going to swap hands in the middle of play. The fact that they all have the damn trigger hands, it doesn't make for a very satisfying punch, right? You want somebody to punch somebody right in the fucking jaw. And it's kind of, it doesn't feel right with these weird trigger hands. It's just not as satisfying. Not even as satisfying as the original G.I. Joe just had there. All the hands were this. Right? All the hands were like a cup and a boob, That's how I do it anyway. They're not... You need a good solid fist. And the other thing is okay, so they give you a fist sometimes, but I'm not going to swap out my fist and go from weapon to fist in the middle of a fight here. So what I think you should do is you got to have, like a lot of figures have a hand that looks like a fist, but you can still hold stuff in it. That's what I want. A hand that allows you to hold stuff and is also a fist rather than the trigger finger for everything. I mean, do one trigger finger hand, one fist hand, but have both of them allow you to hold objects. That's what I'm looking for. I think that would be the best overall. And then if you want to do the swappable hands for the people that like the swappable hands, I get it. I don't particularly, the only one I like, the rock and roll, he came with the metal hands, and that's awesome. But otherwise, the swappable hands are cool for, the posing. But in general, I'm probably going to be keeping on these two hands, the trigger finger, which you already gave me too many of, and now a nice fist hand that can also hold things. So, yeah, fix those hands. I know this is a big one for me, okay? This guy should have came with an alt head, right? I want to see somebody like a barbecue. I mean, I think it's like Firefly. I don't want an all head. I think he's never taking that mask off. You're never going to see him with that mask off. That's his shtick, right? But if you get somebody like Barbecue, I mean, he's not going to be living in this mask all the time, smelling his own burps. He's got to be able to take that off. I want to see his ginger-ass, soulless looking face underneath the mask. It's dehumanizing to have him just have this on all the time. So there's characters like this. Shockwave should come with an alt head so we can see his face. I think one of the best things they're doing, honestly, the best thing about the classified line is the head sculpts are so good when they get a really good strong face. They're all unique. They look really good. And I'd like to see one for all of these characters. You leave them out, and it just makes you feel like the character is some weirdo who never takes his mask off. And for Snake Eyes, that's fine, but for this guy, it doesn't work. It doesn't make any sense. Similar to things like, you do with Scrap Iron, we get this great removable helmet, and we can see his face underneath. The same should be done for Copperhead. The same should be done for most specialists. If they're going to be somebody who would take that mask off at any time, if it's really a helmet, you're taking it off. If it's there to hide your face, I get it. But that is not the case. So it gives us head sculpts. And when they do, it's so interesting. It's so satisfying. Like the Chuckles head sculpt. It's so satisfying to have that alt head sculpt with a beaten up face. I want more of that. I get there's money issues and you can't do everything and everything's, you know, a budget problem and whatever. You know, throw $3 on the price. You go from 25, 27. I can do that. Don't be going, oh, everything's a special set. Now that you're giving me an extra head and you're going to be like, oh, it's $40. No. That head did not cost $15. We know what plastic costs. But you want to do like $1 for a head? Give me $1 head. An extra head. You know? I'll take. Like here, okay, Copperhead, for instance. We got Copperhead here. And he should have a removable helmet. So we can see his beautiful Florida man face. But here's another complaint here I have. You got all these removable pieces like these armbands. And they're great for the look. It's nice that they move around and shift and because they look all nice. But as a person who plays with them, they're constantly falling off. They're constantly shifting. And now they're going down his arm like this. And it's like, what is he wearing? One of those little snap bands or something? I mean, like, so I'd rather have the piece just molded into his arm than have these movable, bendable, removable pieces that slip off all the time. It's kind of frustrating as you're trying to play with these things. And that is like ultimately, I guess, maybe we're not all playing with them because, they're collectors' toys. But that is the purpose. The purpose of these things is to be played with, correct? And I know you're secretly playing with them. Even if you say you're putting them on a shelf, you're secretly playing with them. Even if you don't admit it. We know you when you're having a fist fight, these little stupid bands are going to constantly come off. So just like cut the shit with the bands. Like just make it a fold. There's nothing exciting about the fact that this is a rubber strap that goes around his arms. Nothing exciting about that. Mold it into his arm. Nobody's going to care. Nobody's going to be less excited about this figure because that slips off. All right. I want to see more innovation in the accessories too. And there are times you're nailing this. You're just getting it so right. Like I think the new Quick Kick that's coming out is coming with a Fudgies bar. Like that brings out an interesting, little gag. It's fun and it's unique. And sometimes you're just nailing it on this, where they're coming with really interesting things that take us back. And sometimes they just come with your standard gun, knife. And like, for instance, the Crimson Twins, they came with like a weird rope thing that you could, slide along on. I never really quite got it. Why didn't they come with that? Might as well. Could they have come with an Extensive Enterprises briefcase? Could they have come with something else that clues us in to their backstory, their world? There's so many opportunities where you could be really innovative with the accessories, and sometimes you do. I think Tripwire, the new Tripwire, knocks it out of the ballpark with, all the things you lay him out with. His loadout is just incredible. And so many times, though, they really are just standard. It's just, gun knife. So, and even sometimes we're not getting the thing that it came with when it was, when the figure first came out. Like Torpedo had these 2 little torpedoes on his backpack. That was an awesome thing to have. The new Eel doesn't come with that iconic weapon that's half spear gun, half laser gun or machine gun. There are times you nail it. That new Snow Serpent, the inclusion of like that alt head where he's just got a wolf strapped to the back of his head. That's awesome. That's showing like a real innovative creativity. And I think that the line is at its best when that creativity is allowed to come out. So like, awesome. Keep doing that. Go more that direction, please. That is what we want to see. Okay, paint. Sometimes the paint is off. Many of you mentioned this in your videos. It doesn't happen to me that often. There's not too many times where I look at the paint job and go, I'm really not feeling the paint job. But it's worth mentioning. I know it's probably, little children from another country that are, making and painting these things. Face facts, that's how everything is made in America. Some third world country. It's just like that factory in the Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. That's basically how I imagine they make these things, right? But if you could get those little children to just paint a little bit neater on the toy, I mean, just whatever you're gonna do. Maybe like feed them better. Pay them more than 5 cents an hour. I don't want to know. I'm just saying that's probably the way it is. And just pay them better. Make them do a better job of the paint. Here's my other big complaint. 2 big complaints, then I'll go away. Availability. What the hell, man? Do I gotta go to China to get an eel? Is that what I gotta do? I gotta go at the doors of Hasbro and wait outside and just mug an employee to go get an eel. Why is it so hard? And and the worst is when you package up a character that we all want, that we're all waiting for, and you make it an exclusive and you make it impossible to get. Like Serpentor was the biggest sin for me. It's like you're taking one of the biggest characters in the line, you're making this great figure, you give us a little time to get it, and then it's out of print, can't find it, and now if I want to get it, it's $180 on eBay. I'm not spending that kind of money on stupid ass Serpentor, but I want to. I really, really want to. Last one, and this is a big one. Give us the damn file cards. Why do they not come with file cards? I mean, come on. Why do these things not come with a damn file card, okay? I think it's just probably the biggest sin of the whole line, the biggest omission. So maybe there's some weirdo reason why you can't have a file card, but it's unacceptable. I don't think you know how significant the file cards are to what made this a great toy line when we were kids, right? The file cards were everything. I mean, take one of these new figures, Wolf Spider or Shooter. You get them, you don't know who they are, and whether they're good characters or not, they look okay with the concept of the character. I don't really know. They're not a character until you tell me what their personality is like, until you give me something that distinguishes them from all of the other characters that come with guns and knives, right? So, these new characters are not, they're kind of meaningless to me. Even when you come out with somebody who might be a great character, without that file card to tell me who they are, I don't know who I'm playing with. I don't know what the character is. And so I think that's just a real fail here to not have the file cards. I don't understand why you wouldn't be able to. It's literally a piece of cardboard. You just need somebody to write it, preferably Larry Hama, but, or just take the ones from the 80s. Don't rewrite them. Take them from the 80s, put them on the card, or have Larry Hama rewrite them. You can't afford people to rewrite them? I'll freaking rewrite them for you, okay? I can write 100 words. There's no reason why you should not be able to have the file cards. But the file cards are the purpose, or they make the character. We'll take it, for instance, a character that isn't great. Tripwire. Not a great character. Their new version of him looks amazing, but that original figure, kind of a boring figure. What he does, he has a mine detector, which, doesn't remind me of action. It makes me think of when you see that, fat middle-aged man on the beach walking around looking for coins instead of so he can secretly perv on the girls on the beach. That's what I think about with a mine detector. It's just not the most exciting accessory. But what made Tripwire cool is, you read his back story and you read his file card, and in his file card you found out that he was the clumsiest man alive. And so that allowed you to use that when you play. So for me, the fun of Tripwire was, he was very good and in control when he was working on a bomb, and every other moment he was clumsy as hell. Or somebody like Footloose. Again, a character that was not necessarily the most exciting visually. He's a standard infantry soldier. Came with a rifle. Came with a little mini rocket launcher. Nothing too exciting. But then you find out he's this weird, cosmic hippie-ish dude, and that gave him a dimension that he wouldn't have had without that file card. So the file cards are the thing. They really are, I think, fundamentally what makes G.I. Joe G.I. Joe. So the fact that they're missing is just insanity. Bring them back. Put them on the back. Put them somewhere, have them included. I don't know what, but that is the must. That's the thing you've got to do if you want to make this line the greatest it can possibly be. Otherwise, all right, I'm going to stop complaining now. Thank you for what you do. As much as I am complaining here, I do and am impressed. I'm constantly loving what is happening here, and it's getting better as we go. I'm still probably come back and complain again because that is the way the internet works. You want to hear me complain some more? I have a whole series on comparing the original to the new classified. You can watch that here.